For more on this story, we got John Carney Breitbart News economics editor and co-author of the Breitbart Business Digest, and my great pal, former OMB and director and president of the Center for Renewing America, that being Russell Vought. Say, Russ Vought, I want to start with you on the tariff thing. You probably saw it today. You know a thing or two about tariffs. This is like, we waited so long for so little and so meek. I don't really understand this, except they want to sound muscular, but we know they're not.
They're not, and they continue to chase the leadership that President Trump had while he was in office of changing the relationship with China to be able to go after some of the structural problems that we have with China. They're stealing our technology, them making it so that we can't have a fair marketplace with our firms trying to do business in China. So, look, this is just a half measure. It comes way too late, and it's something, if they were really serious, they would have had every single cabinet member go to China and just say, hey, there's no talk about strategic decoupling. We're all going to be on good terms here. Instead, they waited too late, and this is what they have to show for it.
You know, Joe, we don't buy steel from China, or hardly any. We don't really buy electric vehicles. We do buy some solar panel stuff. On the other hand, they want to stop rare earths. They're slapping tariffs on, but they won't let us mine for rare earths here.
Of course.
So what does that tell you?
So Biden is not serious about this China trade issue at all. In fact, his tariffs are so weak that they will do nothing at all to reset the trade relationship with China. China depends on the U.S. buying its overcapacity. It is still going to depend on the U.S. buying its overcapacity. The people who are going to be hurt here, it's not consumers. It's not going to raise prices. Tariffs don't do that. We saw that under Trump. You know who's going to be hurt? It's going to be the other manufacturers in the U.S. who are making non-protected products that China is going to dump onto us because they still need to run their trade deficit, their trade surplus, our trade deficit against us. So Trump tried to handle it strategically. Let's reset the trade relationship. Let's make it reciprocal. Biden's not doing anything about that. This is a dumb move.
I just want to repeat two other concerns. We're doing nothing about China assembling manufacturers and automobiles in Mexico and shipping them up through there to be under the radar screen of USMCA. And the other thing is, China is financing two wars against the United States by buying oil from Iran and buying oil from Russia. The Bidens know this. The whole world knows this. We all have the numbers on this. Probably Iran itself has made $100 billion in the last 3 or so years. Brian Hook wrote a very good column in the Wall Street Journal, former national security. They don't say a word about it. They don't say a word. I guess they're too busy appeasing Iran.
Biden had a pretty good idea back in that 2020 Biden idea clip where he said we should get the rest of the world. Guess what? He didn't do that. He is not getting the rest of the world to come against China at all. He's doing this unilaterally. That's a mistake because China's also dumping electric vehicles into Europe. We should be selling electric vehicles into Europe. It is a terrible idea. He's not going about it the right way.
Russ Vought, two things on the budget. Obviously, the numbers are outrageous. You're running $2 trillion deficits per year as far as the eye can see. You're essentially at full employment, or at least below 4% unemployment. That's ridiculous. The federal debt is going up to 116% of GDP. 48 trillion is the CBO estimate. Probably come in more than that unless there's some major policy changes. You know what else, though, Russ, caught my eye? The Committee to Unleash Prosperity was running this today or yesterday. Food stamps, SNAP program, okay? It is almost as expensive as it was at the height of COVID, and still, I hate to say this, able-bodied recipients are not working. And I am troubled by that, Russ Vought, and thought you might have a thought.
Well, I am too, and I think the problem with food stamps, we always hear they're supposed to be cyclical. Like when you have a downturn, food stamps goes up, and then when things begin to pick up, they go down. In reality, they don't ever go down. They continue to scale up, and what's different is that with all of our welfare programs, we've lost the ability to expect work from these programs. The historic reforms that were put in place in the 1990s are largely gone by the wayside. And so what we have now are benefit hammocks, where people are not encouraged to get back into the workforce. And that is something that I think you'll see in a difference with President Trump. All of his budgets had substantial welfare reform, both to improve what we had on the books already, but also to apply it to new programs.
That That won't balance the budget, but it would help, and it would get more people participating in the labor force, which throws off all kinds of benefits. So I think you're right about that. John Carney, last 30 seconds, the PPI kind of blasted off today. I'm not sure I know what this new PPI means, but it didn't look very good, almost 6% at an annual rate.
Yeah, it's absolutely ugly. Inflation is not coming down. Biden was wrong about it. The Fed was wrong about it. He was hoping that the Fed would come in and bail him out with a tax cut or rate cut. The rate cut is not happening. It's probably not going to happen this year. I don't think it's going to happen next year. I like what you say. It's not going to happen in our lifetime. Then that's one of the reasons, by the way, all those budget numbers are wrong. Those budget numbers assume that the interest rates go down, and they're going to be higher, and the budget number is going to be much
You're right, and Yellen is financing everything at the short end of the curve through 3-month Treasury bills, which is exactly the wrong way to do this. And Gen Zers, oh my God, they're going to be paying through the nose for so many years. You're right, because those rates, not only are they the highest rates on the yield curve right now, because the curve is inverted, but they may well go higher.
And when they go higher, Janet Yellen will be looked at as having made one of the most epic mistakes a U.S. Treasury Secretary has ever made. She shouldn't be doing it right now the way she is. And it's because they all believed in the myth that inflation was just going to solve itself and go away. You can't run the kind of budget deficits we're running right now without generating an enormous amount of inflation.
All right, there you have it. John Carney, thank you. Russ Vought, thank you very much. Russ is smiling. He sees we're speaking the truth. Russ, you've got to come visit us in New York. We miss you.